Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Optimus Tom here, casting alongside me with Sulla. Sulla, how are you?
Hey, happy to be here. Nice to be here with you, Tom. Glad
Yes,
to have everybody here listening in and watching this match with us.
yes, indeed, guys. Just in case you stumbled across the stream randomly, you are tuned into the IPL5 League of Legends qualifiers matches. Tonight we have an awesome match between TSM Evo and Team Pentachill. Now, everybody may know TSM Evo, obviously from MLG, most recently this weekend. Of course, everybody knows they used to be Epic Gamer. Not a lot of people have any idea who Pentachill is, and it's kind of interesting because I had no idea either until about like 20 minutes ago when we're setting the lobby up. A lot of these members of Team Pentachill are actually from an amateur League of Legends tournament that I got a privilege to cast a couple of matches of a couple of months ago. And these players used to be like about 1,200, 1,300 ELO, and I'm really excited to see that a lot of them are like almost 2,000 right now. So it's going to be like a little metamorphosis for me, as well as a lot of the people out there in the audience getting to really see them for the first time.
This is one thing that we've noticed with some of these past games when you have these teams that we're not as familiar with. We don't really know what kind of champions they like to play, what strategies they like to employ. So there's a lot of surprises, not just for the well-known teams, but for us as the casters as well. It's exciting to see what these teams are going to bring out. But they have started to pick some bans, and we probably should start talking about some of the choices that the teams are pulling out here, Tom.
Yes, indeed. TSM Evo on the blue side, opting to ban out Alistair, Soraka, and Graves, while Pentachill on the purple team, or the red team once we get in game, will be Shen, Kennen, and Janna. It's very interesting because TSM Evo has banned out what looks to be two support characters, but let's not forget, Solo, that Alistair is also a very powerful jungler with super early ganks that can really disrupt any lane he's going to be invading. And then after MLG Anaheim, where TSM dominated with Graves in the bottom lane, I'm actually not surprised to see them banning him out here.
Not surprised either, although Graves did get a fairly substantial nerf in the Draven patch, which is the one that we're on here right now. We do see the first pick Urgot coming out from TSM Evo. I did see that at MLG Anaheim, they did have some success playing Urgot in the bottom lane. So it's interesting to see that that comes out as the first pick. We then see the Taric pick and the Nocturne jungle coming out on the other side there. Nocturne is at MLG Anaheim. We saw Nocturne being one of the most highly prized junglers in the field, frequently banned, picked a lot by the teams, and it looks like that's continued along. There's been no change in terms of his power status relative to other junglers. And let's see what Evo decides to pick over here. They're sort of going back and forth between a couple champions, but we should see them locking in something pretty soon. They seem to have zeroed in on that Nautilus pick right there. Nautilus has come in as an extremely popular pick as well. We saw him used a lot at MLG Anaheim, and he's just really been very popular at high elo recently, both normally as a jungler, occasionally as a top laner as well. And we'll see what they choose to go with.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see both Nocturne and Nautilus were the top two junglers being played at Anaheim, so it's no surprise to see them going back and forth in this game. It'd be a little surprising to see Nautilus in the top lane, although it's one of those little funky things I'd absolutely love to get a chance to cast. We do see Nat Nguyen locking in Lulu, so we could potentially have a support Lulu, but let's not forget, Salsi could wind up taking Lulu into the middle lane, where she's a very, very powerful AP mid in addition to being a support character.
I haven't really seen Lulu played a whole lot with Urgot. We may have seen the Taric pick over on the other side, specifically because Urgot is often paired with Taric, and they didn't want to see that combination. But it might be a good combo. I just haven't seen it played a whole lot. So that is something that we could see in alternate lanes. We also see the Corki pick and the Morgana pick coming out over there. And Corki also a very popular AD to pair with Taric as a support down in bottom lane, and Morgana just seems like she has been one of the top APs just forever. Almost no point in time in the game I can remember where she wasn't one of the most popular APs, so not really a surprise to see Morgana coming out there as well.
No, not at all. Despite Morgana constantly being slightly tweaked and slightly nerfed, she does stay at the top of the AP middle kind of selection there. So very, very interesting to see her throughout all, basically the history of League of Legends. She's still a very, very powerful mid laner, so no surprise this year being picked up here by Team Pentachill. On the other side, we do have TSM Evo. Looks like we're going to be getting a Darius. I'm assuming it's going to be a top lane Darius and a jungle Nautilus. We did see a little bit of Darius at Anaheim, although not so much, despite him being basically a solo queue stomper. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Wings of Death is going to use him in that top lane. And then Salsi getting to pick his AP mid as his last character. Looks to be locking in Brand, and Brand's not exactly an AP mid we see all too often, Sola.
No, it's not. I remember Brand was extremely popular when he came out. He was very strong, however. He did get some of his ratios nerfed a little bit. He's really fallen out of favor in the competitive scene of late. We just don't see too many Brands of late. And one of the reasons for that being is people feel that his ult is a little bit too random. You frequently will see that the professional teams got really good at just spreading out to avoid the damage from his ult bouncing around. So I'm actually pretty excited to see Brandon this game. He's one of my favorite AP mids. We just don't get to see him a whole lot anymore. And then we finally have the Jax pick coming out on the other side for Team Pentachill. I think that's the name.
Yes, indeed.
I'm sure I'm going to stumble over that once or twice. Is we see the Jax pick coming out, going to be played in top lane. We have the teleport coming in there as well. Jax was also very popular top laner, becomes extremely strong as the into late game, scales very, very well. He needs to get a lot of farm to be effective, but if he can get his Hextech Gunblade and his Trinity Force, he becomes an absolute monster in late game. So it looks like they're going to be playing for that in top lanes, and we see the different players swapping around their champion picks. It does indeed look like Darius is going to be up in top lane, and that should be a fun matchup to watch up there.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see how Jax goes against Darius. As you said, Jax is going to want to play towards a little bit more of the later game, whereas Darius can start harassing with his passive and his Q spell right out of the get-go. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Tangy Time's going to react to Wings of Death, and if Wings of Death is going to be playing super, super aggressive. Pentachill actually seems like they are going for a little bit more of a late-game composition. They do have Taric and Corki in the bottom lane, and Corki's one of those champions that, because he has the passive adding a percentage of true damage, he has the armor shred on his Gatling gun, he deals a lot of damage if he could get into those later stages of the game. Same thing we just talked about with Jax in the top lane. They do have a supplement of Morgana in the middle lane and Nocturne out of the jungle to really cause some disruption towards the early to the mid stages of the game. But it's going to be very interesting to see the armor shredding of Corki and the sheer damage from him against the tanky AD carry in Urgot in the bottom lane. And we do have that Lulu support pick. She does have the help picks to shield him out, but we could possibly see a very aggressive lane. Don't forget, Glitterlance has a very, very large slow ratio despite it only being for a little bit of time, but Urgot could really use that to his advantage to gain positioning, using his Q spell and just auto attacks to really dominate the bottom lane early game.
These are both very aggressive bottom lane picks, as you just said. Taric Corki is in a very aggressive lane. You're going to be trying to use that stun and that shatter, as you mentioned, in order to get some kind of a kill. Nocturne also works very well with that combination. Taric stuns, Nocturne jumps in, Corki uses his Valkyrie in and uses his Gatling gun, tries to do a lot of damage. But on the other side, Urgot is one of the strongest champions in lane, certainly one of the strongest ADs in lane. He falls off quite a bit as the game goes on, but he's very difficult to bully in lane. And Lulu is also a fairly aggressive support. So, I mean, we're not really seeing a whole lot of sustain in that bottom lane. Of course, we do have Taric. He does have a heal, but it's not really one of the better heals. So I would anticipate there being a lot of action down in bottom lane just because based on the champions that each side have picked, we're not seeing an Ashe Soraka farm fest or just, hang around until the 25-minute mark just trying to farm up creeps. There are definitely going to be kills to be had down there, but it'll just be up to which team can execute better.
It's going to be a very exciting bottom lane, so we're definitely going to have to pay some attention to that. But we can't really count out any of the other lanes either. The middle lane's actually be very interesting because DC Buddha on Morgana does have Dark Binding, and he's going to be able to farm up a lot with that pool. Whereas Salsi on Brand, he's going to have to land his combo spells in order to get that crowd control. But if Nautilus is going to be walking into the middle lane against Morgana, it's going to be a little bit difficult because she has that Black Shield for crowd control reduction. But if Brand is able to land a couple spells, it's going to evaporate that shield instantly, and then Nautilus out of the jungle has so much crowd control, he could basically hold Morgana in place by himself.
Both of these junglers a little bit slow to start out. Neither one, they both have relatively good clear times. They're a little bit slow, like I said, when they start out, a bit dependent on blue buff, but especially after they hit 6, their ganks are completely terrifying. Both Nocturne and Nautilus, and I hope I don't get them confused because I'm always getting those two names confused since they both start with N. But we'll see where they choose to focus. They definitely can pick on a lot of different lanes. One thing that's become very popular at the professional level is trying to snowball ahead either top or mid lane. Those lanes being seen as more susceptible to ganks than bottom lane. Bottom lane with the support is usually heavily warded up on both sides. So one thing you do see sometimes is you'll see the jungler get an early Oracle at about the 8 or 9 minute mark and start clearing out those wards. Alternately, you see the teams really trying to pick on a particular lane. Of late, it's been top. Traditionally, it's been more mid, but of late, you've seen the professional teams really focusing on top lane, trying to snowball it ahead, and then trying to get an advantage there. It's just a lane that they see as being sort of more vulnerable than anywhere else. So we'll see if that ends up happening in this match.
We're just going to have to find out, as we did get into the loading screen already. And, of course, everybody's favorite part of a League of Legends game, it's not the beginning, middle, or end game. It's definitely the skin war at the loading screen. I don't know about you, but we do see here that there are 4 skins basically for each team, so they're evenly matched in the skin war. But we're going to have to see if that translates into the skill of the game as well. So we're going to see. We do have the Blackthorn Morgana skin, though. One of the newer Morgana skins. It's absolutely awesome.
The Battlecast Urgot skin is one of my favorites. I really like that one. The Armor of the Fifth Age Tark is, of course, a classic. Everybody loves the pink Tark skin. It has I remember that there was a poll on the forums asking for what skin should we put on sale that Riot asked a number of months ago, and that one just instantly shot to the top of the list because people wanted to get their hands on that pink Tark skin. But a lot of nice choices on both sides. And I like the Cryocore brand skin as well. More so than his other skins. Just there's something about those blue flames that's just inherently kind of entertaining.
I think there's something about the number of Arnold Schwarzenegger jokes we can make with Mr. Freeze. I think that's the allure of the skin. But we do have right out of the get-go everybody going. Looks to be Team Pentachill going into their own jungle, maybe even going for invade, because as you said, both these junglers usually like to have a blue buff, and Pentachill is going over by the red buff, and they are kind of dancing around the middle lane. We could potentially have a level 1 engage here, Saul, as everybody is about to walk into the same bush. TSM Evo kind of think that something
and Urgot is not with the rest of the team, too.
No, he is not. He's down on bottom. TSM Evo kind of figured something was up. They did not go immediately into the bush. That probably would have been absolute death for one of them if they walked into that bush at 5 from Pentachill there. But Pentachill is actually going to back off, just faking the invade, making TSM Evo go on a defensive, and now they're just going to look like they're walk right over to their own blue buff and go for a defend on it, whereas TSM Evo looks to do exactly the opposite of what Pentachill wanted them to do, and they're going to be aggressive here. Tara's going to face check the bush, will walk into a W from that Brand. He doesn't get a stun down on Wings of Death. Wings of Death gets exhausted and very low. Tara's going to flash after, and Morgana's going to be able to pick up first blood. Brand is going to take down Tara because of this, though. Nat Nguyen will fall to Corki, so there's 2 kills apiece now as Urgot takes down Corki. Nautilus is being chased around by Nocturne over there. I almost missed those up as well. Jax is going to be going down on Aphromood's Urgot right there. Brand is still in the battle, though, laying skills down from afar. Stun does not land on Aphromood, and he just misses the Dark Binding, so it looks like it's going to be a 2-for-2 here as Pentachill tries to back off. Are they going to get caught here by Salsi on Unstoppable, though? Salsi gets Jack very, very low. Dark Binding, very, very nice there from DC Buddha, is going to stop Unstoppable's advance, and it looks to be just a 2-for-2 right now, but like we said, lots of action right out of the get-go from these two teams, Sola.
We had some great action there. A very exciting level 1 fight. So 2-for-2. Pentachill did get first blood, so I suppose they come out slightly ahead in that just because they did get the first blood. I think Evo, though, was a little bit fortunate to go 2-for-2 in that exchange. They had the... Pentachill did have the stronger level 1 fight just because they have a stun on Taric, they have a stun on Morgana, and they have that stun on Jax as well, though it's a little bit harder to hit that one. So to go 2-for-2 in an even exchange, not really that bad for Evo in that particular fight. I think that they have to be somewhat happy that they were able to come out, you know, not really behind from that. Furthermore, as we mentioned, Urgot wasn't even with them initially. Aphromood was off in bottom lane. That first fight, he wasn't there. He did manage to join up with them for the second fight, but particularly in that first fight, they really could have suffered if they had been caught, you know, in a Taric stun and a Morgana binding, and it was also a 5-against-4 against them. So they were a little bit lucky, I think, just to come out 2-for-2 in that particular exchange.
Yeah, very, very fortunate for Evo that they did not have a little bit more of a misstep there. But as we were looking in the top lane here, Jax is just getting absolutely bullied around by Wings of Death's Darius right now. Between his Crippling Strike, Decimate, and Hemorrhage, he's just got Jax down to, like, below half health at level 1 right away. So Darius is definitely having a little bit of an advantage as Jax is trying to just dance away the blues. I don't think that we're going to be seeing Jax pushing out very, very soon here. You see Nocturne getting low in his jungle, so he does probably have to go back after picking up double buff, whereas Nautilus, you know, he's going to do the same thing. Both junglers about on even pathing right now after the invade. It looks to be maybe Nautilus would be a little bit behind because of that, but Unstoppable's done a really good job of catching up in the jungle pattern, which is something kind of hard to do with a very slow jungler like Nautilus.
They both have those routes planned out so well. You saw they both got down to under 50 HP remaining and without dying, so it looks like they clearly have practiced that. They know just how much damage they can take without falling to those jungle minions. It would have been highly amusing if we had seen either one drop to a jungle creep and we had seen the lizard or the golem get that kill on there. Needless to say, that did not happen. It looks like they both now do have double buff, and we'll probably see some ganking action coming out in the next minute or so from both junglers. Probably both of them want to hit level 4, and then from there they'll be off. and they'll be looking to put some hurt on one of these lanes.
Nocturne is definitely going to have to do something about this top lane. As you do see, Darius is bullying around Jax, even surpassing him 20-9 in the CS score. Nocturne is going to take this chance to go up and around. Darius looks like he wanted to get aggressive on Jax. Jax is going to maybe land the stun on him. Yes, he does, as Darius trying to walk him past the tower range. Fear goes down from Nocturne. This could potentially be a kill here as Wings of Death, he is very, very tanky, not taking too much damage here, but it is a 2 versus 1 right now. He's trying to run towards Salsi, who is coming up from the middle lane, but DC Buddha is following. This could be a 2 versus 3. He is going to dodge the Dark Binding. Wings of Death will fall, though. DC Buddha from the middle lane actually going to be picking up that kill, and now it's a 3 versus 1 on Salsi. Salsi's in a very bad spot here. Stun from Jax is not going to land, as he does actually hit Unstoppable instead. They are going to go directly onto Unstoppable. Tangy Tom's taking a lot of damage, but they are going to pick up a kill on Nautilus. TSM Evo is actually going to pick up a kill there on the jungle, actually on Jax there. We did see aggression on the bottom lane, though, as Nat the Wind's actually going to flash forward to pick up a kill on Tarek, as Corki did take down Afromu. Possibly a double kill there on the bottom lane, as Corki takes 2 kills from the bottom lane, and Pentachill's looking very, very strong in this game, Sola.
Pentachill looking outstanding in this game. The gank up in top lane, I didn't really see the fight in bottom lane, but the gank in top lane, just a standard route, coming around from behind in top lane, coming out with that red buff. One of the reasons why we're seeing all these kills is because pretty much everyone used their flashes in that level 1 fight, and with everyone's flash being down, that makes them very susceptible to jungle ganks. In that top lane, Wings of Death did not have his flash up, so there really wasn't a whole lot he could do in that fight. All he could do is try to run away, and very difficult to get away from a jungler like Nocturne when he has that red buff on him. So he got down there, he got down to his middle lane, and their middle laner, Salsi, tried to do his best. His pillar did a lot of damage in that fight and was able to pick up 1 kill. But again, the lack of mobility on the heroes when they're not able to, flash or ghost out of situations, it does result in more kills, and that's really what we saw there. But this is exactly the start that Pentachill wanted. They are definitely in this game. They actually have a modest lead right here. They have a 500 gold lead, but they have to be extremely pleased with how this game is going up against a team that's so much better known like TSM Evo.
Yes, indeed, and actually because of this aggression on bottom lane, Corki already with double Doran's Blade and Berserker's Greaves to his name. Urgot actually picked up double Doran's and a longsword, which is a very interesting choice, but I'm actually going to interrupt myself because it looks like Unstoppable wants to do some sort of aggression on Tangy Time in the top lane. This is one of the lanes where Darius has that CS advantage is so high right now, so they really want to try to push the advantage up here, and they definitely don't want Jax snowballing into the later stages of the game. Bad enough already that he has 4 assists to his name and 1 death, so that's a lot of extra gold on that top lane, despite him not being able to farm up a lot. And Unstoppable is just being super patient up here, as I don't even know what's going to happen. Tangy Time is going to move forward. Actually wants to check the bush here. He's going to jump out of the way as Unstoppable is revealed, and I think he's just going to wind up falling back there.
It was a very patient gank from Unstoppable. Unfortunately, it did not work out. Again, it reflects something that we said earlier about how the junglers really want to try to snowball ahead the top lane, where they often focus on. Unfortunately for Pentachill, it's not really working out that well for them. Even though they're equal in levels, the farming difference pretty extreme up there in top lane as Wings of Death takes a few tower shots. So that's really been the biggest difference in the game right now. It really is that top lane so far. We also do have Nocturne setting up. He is 6. It looks like he's going to go for a gank in bottom lane, so I would anticipate action coming out there. Let's see if Tarek initiates with that stun, and here we go.
Yep, Nocturne is going to go with the ultimate. Look at Afromu just absolutely melt. That is not a very tanky Urgot at low level. Nocturne is going to tank the tower while the rest of the team falls down onto Lulu. That is, actually Nocturne going to die to the tower, so that is 2 kills for Nat Nguyen right there. Meanwhile, we did miss that Wings of Death decided to get aggressive on Jax in the top lane. Looks like his Hemorrhage passive took down Jax as he was trying to run away. We do see that he actually used the Ignite too, so the 2 in combination taking down Jax from the top lane. But this bottom lane for Pentachill, Corki is 4-1-2 right now, and he has equal CS to Afromu's Urgot, so that is absolutely insane right now. Middle lane, we do see aggression from Morgana, getting very close to dropping down Salsi. Ignite is not going to be enough to tick him away. Salsi trying to land a stun on Morgana in tower range, she pops the black shield, and she's going to be a-okay to get out of there. So Pentachill just overall right now, even if they are a little bit behind in farm in some lanes, Salsi actually losing in the farm to Morgana. Top lane is really all that TSM Evo has at this early stage of the game, as the rest of the lanes for Pentachill are just really starting to spiral in their favor.
Evo is really crushing top lane, but the problem for them is that in turn they're getting equally crushed in bottom lane, and that's a serious problem because when you take Urgot as a laner, you're taking Urgot specifically to win the laning phase because he does not scale especially well in the late game. In a late game teamfight, you're more just going to be using him for his swap on the enemy champion and just sort of there as a damage soak. He's not really going to be outputting that much damage. So to be behind in a lane that you're running Urgot in is really, really a disaster for your team. You know, if you take Urgot, you're trying to win the lane. You're trying to snowball ahead early, so if you fall behind in a lane like that, you're going to be in some pretty serious trouble for late game. So the only thing that's really saving that for Evo is the fact that Jax is just getting absolutely destroyed by Wings of Death's Darius up in top lane, and we see right there Tangy Time just getting completely bullied in that top lane. He is so far behind right now, he really can't even lane, and it looks like his jungling buddy is going to try to help him out up here and just do something to try to set this lane, because as it is right now, he's not going to get any creeps at all, and he's going to get killed if he comes out to try to farm.
Yeah, he is not going to get any farm at all. Looks like Nocturne maybe can just be waiting in the wings to push off the tower, if anything. But Nocturne is kind of sitting there. Ooh, Jax does have teleport, so we could potentially see Nocturne coming in for a gank. If Jax gets vision, Nocturne's ultimate is actually up right now. We could possibly see Nocturne pop that to go on to Wings of Death. But that is a Darius that is very, very, very beefy. He has a Heart of Gold in addition to a regrowth pendant. They are going to pop the ultimate and the stun, though. Ooh, a flash goes off, but Jax is able to jump over there and land the stun. Wings of Death is in a very bad spot right now. I don't think he anticipated that one, trying to get the ultimate down on Jax. It is not going to go, as now Tangy Time picks up a kill on that top lane. So that Darius advantage, you know, not the best anymore. We do see meanwhile in the middle lane, DC Buddha got extremely low going against Salsi, and Salsi 3 Doran's rings to his name, whereas Morgana went for 2 and Akage's lucky pick. So he does have a little bit of a health and ability power advantage over her right now, and that is probably the reason why he was able to pick up a kill despite being very, very close to her tower.
Mid lane's been very even up to this point. Both of them got kills in other lanes previously in those early level 1 fight, in the early level 1 fight, and in the second fight over by Evo's blue buff earlier. But that kill may start to snowball Salsi out a little bit in front. Salsi is of course one of the absolute top AP players in North America. He is just dominant in solo queue. I haven't seen him play Brand too much recently, but he did play Brand a lot back in the day when Brand was one of the top competitive picks. So we'll have to see where he chooses to go with this lane from here. I would expect that he will start to pull out ahead. We do see the lucky pick. I think you mentioned this before. We do see the lucky pick on Morgana. So Morg is actually slightly ahead in farm just because of having that passive gold coming in. Anyway, the game, though, is extremely close. Dead even in gold, 15.5k for both teams right now. We still haven't seen either team make a play for Dragon yet. I do think that we will probably see some kind of Nautilus gank coming out soon, because we really have seen Nocturne be a little bit more active than Nautilus in in the last couple minutes of action. It feels like Nautilus is going to have to try some kind of a play here. And we do actually have some action going in top once again. Yeah,
it looks like Nocturne is going to come in for another gank onto Darius. Another Jax stun goes off. The fear from Nocturne looks like Darius is going to walk directly into them because of that fear. Very nice fear there from Nocturne. He is super, super beefy still. He might be able to get away. They are going to go for a tower dive here. Jax goes in and starts tanking it, but they decide no, because that Darius ultimate, if he kills one of them with it, he could potentially kill both of them. So they are going to back off of that tower because they are both at about half health. And Darius is actually going to live to fight another day. He's actually going to stick around too. He does have a Philo Stone and Heart of Gold, so he's actually just snowballing his CS advantage in the top lane even more so by picking up those dual GP10 items. And he's actually going to be regenerating a lot of health because of that. He does have a Doran's Blade, so he's going to get a little bit of health from these little creep slash that he's taken, but not too much. So he's going to be fine to stay in the lane against Jax right now.
Wings of Death saying, I am not particularly afraid of you guys with that double gold for 10 build. That's what that's suggesting. Does not feel threatened in this lane whatsoever. Just going to try to stack up the passive gold and get ahead. There's another nice gank from Nocturne. I am really not familiar with this player, Scallon Man, but he's playing an excellent game thus far. That would have been a kill if he had red buff there. Only the fact that he did not have red buff up allowed Darius to get away in top lane. It was still nearly a kill. Like you said, probably a wise decision not to dive that tower. However, we will likely see Darius finally starting to pick up some more substantial items here now that he's got the double gold for 10s. And we'll see where he goes here from here with his build. He does pick up the Ninja Tabby, and we'll see what his first core item is off of this.
In addition to item builds, very quickly, taking a quick look around, looks like Nautilus has picked up an Oracle's Elixir, so TSM Evo is going to try to gain some kind of map presence and dominance over Pentachill right now. We do see Morgana has picked up a Negatron Cloak, so she's going for that early Abyssal Scepter against that Brand is going to be very, very good, because not only is she going to be lowering his magic resistance, but buffing her and her own. So that's going to be a great choice against Saucy's Brand in the middle lane. They do actually go for a 5-man Dragon attempt. Nocturne's actually going to ult right here onto Saucy. Saucy does not know anything that's going on. There's absolutely no ward coverage except for behind, actually in the back of the Dragon Pit. So they had an idea what was going on, but Saucy just did not react to that one as 4 members of Pentachill just completely dive on him. And even if you're Saucy and one of the top AP mids in North America, I don't think you're getting away from 4 of them with Brand.
It was an excellent time to Dragon, just because Nautilus was nowhere near. Nautilus was actually up on the top part of the map, so there was no Dragon control for TSM Evo. And indeed, as you mentioned, they did have a ward in the back of the Dragon Pit, so they did see Pentachill take that Dragon. So Saucy really should not have been caught there by 3 members of Pentachill. He should have been able to see that there were a ton of members of the enemy team right around Dragon, and he should have known. He really should not have gotten caught there by that many members of the enemy team. Like you said, the lack of ward coverage, we have seen some more wards go up right now for Evo since that happened. And we actually have another play coming in here down in bottom lane. Morgana coming in and trying to make the play on Urgot. Aftermoo is going to try to swap himself out, but it's not going to be enough, and he's going to go down to Dark Knight's Corki as he picks up his 5th kill of the game.
This is a game of very, very patient players. DC Buddha actually waited in his own tri-bush here, over by the ward where I'm pointing to on the map right now. Waited there for a good 10 seconds before he went in for a lane gank, and I don't even think TSM Evo had any idea he was there. Nocturne is going to see that Nautilus is coming in for a gank on top lane at the same exact time he wants to go in. Stun has already been used on Darius. He has all those hemorrhage stacks too. Looks like depth charge will go off. Darius is going to flash over, try to pick up a kill on Jax while Nautilus pulls Nocturne out of the tower range, and actually Darius is going to tank the tower while he picks up that Jax kill, so Nocturne actually picks up a kill there. Unstoppable's getting very, very low. Saucy's going to come here, try to get something off. Is Nautilus, or is Nocturne does have that spell shield up. He does get the ignite off and is able to, barely not life leech his way off of those minions. He was not able to cast any spells because of that spell shield, and Nocturne did fall. DC Buddha does come all the way up from that bottom lane, now going into top lane, runs into Saucy, and is just going to sit here in this lane right now. Well, it looks like the middle lane has become the top lane for the time being, but TSM Evo tried to make something happen, but Pentachill is just firing right back. They did get a 2-for-1 in that engage up top right though, so that's one of the first engagements going in favor of TSM Evo this game.
Even though Evo did go 2-for-1, it was a nice. Even though they did go 2-for-1, it was still a pretty nice play, I thought, on the part of Pentachill, particularly Scallon. In that fight, Wings of Death, the Darius player, he wanted to use Darius ult. He could have finished off both kills, but he got hit by the fear proc from Nocturne right when he wanted to ult, and he just sort of stood around, running around in fear for 2 seconds. And while that was going on, the tower just shot him twice and finished him off. So TSM Evo did come out ahead there, no doubt about it. They definitely came ahead in that exchange, but still pretty well played, I thought, by Scallon, just in order to get even 1 kill out of that. But now we have more aggression coming out mid over by Dragon over this ward as they go after Nat Win, and here comes Nocturne as well. Looks like that. Oh no, there's the Lulu ult, so it looks like it will not be a kill. Very nicely played by Nat Win.
Yeah, it looked like we had a little bit of support fight going on, but then you got to remember that Corki and Nocturne can both go over walls at Lulu there. Nat Win did do a really good job of saving himself, but now the ultimate is going to be down. Take a quick look at his cooldowns. He does have about 90 seconds left on that, so Pentachill could make a play on that bottom lane. Nautilus is coming here to try to protect Urgot. He is going to clear out that ward, so they know he's around, but Urgot would have been left all by himself had Nautilus not come down here to kind of protect him. So Pentachill, you know, they're doing really, really great things. They're burning ultimates, they're burning summoners, they're doing a really great job of keeping themselves ever present on the map, despite Unstoppable getting this Oracle's Elixir and starting to really deny them vision. If we take a quick look right here, there are no wards on the map for Pentachill right now, but they are staying so active compared to TSM Evo. They pretty much have that map dominance that they're looking for, despite not having the ward coverage.
The lack of ward coverage, it looks like it is going to be a real issue. We actually do have another gank coming in here in top if you want to go ahead and cast this.
Yes, we do. We have Nocturne coming in from the bush. He is going to land the Q. There was a stun from Jax. Fear is going off into tower range. They are going to keep pursuing this one, though. No one is low enough for Darius' ult to go off. He is going to try to get down to Scallon. Scallon not going to die to that tower shot, so he is going to get out of there with the skin of his teeth. So very, very nice play from Pentachill once again, just continuing to push this top lane issue. Jax is 1-3-7 right now, so even though Darius has 119 farm to Jax's 79, Jax has 7 assists, whereas Darius has died 5 times. So even though Wings of Death is doing an excellent job in this top lane against Jax, they're just really, really camping him.
They're camping the living daylights out of him, and they need to, because otherwise this lane was going to be horribly snowballed. As it is, Jax is still about 400 gold behind Darius. but he's at least in the match, whereas before, if nothing had happened, he would have been completely out of it. We do actually have a push coming in on mid, and it looks like Evo is going to pick up the first tower of the game. We're able to push DC Buddha back and get that with pressure from Salsi and Netwin. So first tower of the match going down. Really the one thing that's keeping Evo in this, even though they've been they've been outkilled in this game and have been a little bit sloppy in their play, they have farmed their lanes very well. If you look, they actually are ahead in terms of farm in every single lane. Now, it's not that surprising to see Urgot ahead in farm. He's not ahead by that much. But again, Brand out farming Morgana in middle lane. And of course, we've talked a lot about top, how there's that significant edge in farm in top lane. They also actually even have an edge on their farmer there. Or excuse me, not their farmer. Their jungler is also about 20 CS ahead. So really, that's why the global gold looks the way it is. They just mechanically have farmed better in these lanes.
And they're actually going to pick up a second tower up here as Wings of Death grabs that one. Jax, however, is in this bottom. We could possibly see Dragon might be coming up in a little bit. That's probably what they're positioning for over here. TSM Evo does have a ward outside of the Dragon now, so they know exactly what Pentachill is up to. So it looks like they're going to contest this, and it looks going to be a 5v4 here in favor of Pentachill. Pentachill does drag the Dragon out, so they are taking a little bit of damage from him. There are going to be a couple shots going out from Aphromoo on Urgot, and a very nice Brand pillar there is going to land on 3 of them. Nocturne decides to go in on Salty, but Salty's going to flash out of there. Ultimate goes off and looks like Nautilus, so Nautilus is huge right now. Morgana's taking a lot of damage. Aphromoo going to try to get a swap off. Look at the extra armor and magic resistance allowing him to get a double kill. Corki will finally finish him off, though, as he shreds through that extra armor and magic resistance with the Gatling gun. Corki's going to go in here, take a lot of extra damage from Salty, ticking down with that Brand passive. Is he going to fall? Yes, auto attacks from Salty will finish him off. Hanging Time, though, looks to possibly going in for a kill on Nautilus. Nautilus actually going to drag him back in the tower range. Will die for his efforts and lose the Oracles, but that is another kill for Brand. 2 so far in this fight. Excellent spell shield there from Scalaman as he's going to possibly live. Even the flash to dodge the pillar. Scalaman on that Nautilus doing a lot of work, but in all this meantime, Darius has pushed down to the inhibitor turret, taking another turret. It looks like TSM Evo came out ahead in that fight in the bottom lane too. And now all that farm that they were getting, all that playing passively, despite Pentachill being super active and getting all those ganks off, now that we're at the 20-minute mark into the game, it's really starting to switch into TSM Evo's favor. It looks like Morgana's going to land a Dark Banding on Darius as her and Tarek try to deal the damage onto this beefy top laner. Bottom tower will fall in this meantime. Darius actually is going to pick up a kill against Tarek. You cannot Black Shield true damage, Morgana, and a nice pool snipe, I'm going to call that one, as Darius looked to be getting away, but Morgana's pool will pick up the kill, and that is a lot of action on that little, like, 1-minute period there, Salah.
That was an amazing sequence for TSM Evo, possibly a game-winning sequence for them there. They did a fabulous job. They won the Dragon fight down there, even though it was a 4v5 from their perspective. Pentachill had all 5 members of their team down there, while TSM Evo had Wings of Death up in top lane the entire time. He got 2 towers up in top. Well, no, he didn't get 2 towers. He almost got the second tower. It's down on 1200 health. So he got 1 tower. He pushed nearly into the base. Meanwhile, the rest of the team fought 4v5, and they won the fight. I believe that they got they killed 4 members of Pentachill. I think it was a 2 for 4, if I remember correctly. So they won the Dragon fight, and they continued to get progress in top, and Darius was continued farming. Darius was eventually taken down in top, but not before he managed to polish off another kill on Tarek. So in total, they were able to go, what was it, 5 kills to 2 and got a tower. Clearly came out ahead, and that's why they've opened up such a major lead in the global gold. Now ahead 4K, whereas before the game was dead even. And in all the excitement, no one actually took Dragon. And right now, TSM Evo's in a great position. It looks like they're going to be in a strong position to come and claim this.
It looks like there's only 3 members as Nautilus is lagging behind. All the members of Pentachill are going to come and try to contest this, but if it repeats, history repeats itself here. We're going to see the 4 members of TSM Evo is all it takes to do this. Nocturne is going to dive in here on Salty again. It's like deja vu, but the ultimate from Lulu goes off on Salty. Another swap from Urgot. Look at him tanking all the damage. They try to focus him down. They are eventually going to kill him, but not before Brand can take out Corki. Morgana is extremely low. Lulu actually trying to pick up the kill there. Is going to get chased away by Jax. Nautilus and Salty over here fending off Tarek and everybody else from Pentachill. Jax is finally going to take down Lulu, but Lulu is going to snag that Morgana kill. Nice stun there from Salty. Is going to be the death of Tangy Time. Now I'm not going to ride you is going to fall. Tarek actually going to another double kill for Brand. And as you said, Salsi from that middle lane being super strong now has gone 9-1 in this game, as opposed to the Morgana he was against. 5-3, still doing okay, but Salsi is just spiraling out of control. Raleig's Crystal Scepter and Hextech Revolver, they got the inhibitor turret up top. Meanwhile, Darius has not left this top lane, I think, all game. He is possibly going to get this inhibitor. I don't think Corgi is going to be able to really deter him from that. Inhibitor will fall, possibly the second bottom tower, as Salsi and Unstoppable just continue to wail away on this one. And what a turnaround here. Wings of Death will eventually fall, as everybody from Pentachill is going to revive. Scalaman is going to pick that one up. But despite the heavy aggression from Pentachill, the passive strategy at TSM Evo is just kicking in now that the later stages of the game are happening, and eventually they might even take this dragon solo.
Yeah, Tom, that was just a repeat of the last fight. Once again, 5v4 at Dragon. Jax teleported into the fight. Jax had been top, but he did use his teleport to get into the fight. And unfortunately for Team Pentachill, they just lost the fight, even though it was a 5v4 in their advantage. Wings of Death never left top lane. He kept pushing. As you could see, he took the tower, he took the inhib as well. And Salsi is just crushing these team fights. He got off an absolutely beautiful brand ult. It bounced all 5 times, hit everybody on the team. His pillars have been magnificent as well. He keeps hitting 2, 3, 4 members of Pentachill with his pillars. That's why he has the 9 kills, and that's why they're winning these team fights, even when it's a 4v5, just because he's doing so much area of effect damage with brand. Just, if we have another team fight, keep your eyes on Salsi and watch for when he uses brand ult. Last time he caught all 5 members of the enemy team in that brand ult, and that is dealing a lot of damage.
Yeah, Salsi's doing a ridiculously great job out of that middle lane. It looks like Pentachill is going to go for what we like to call the Desperation Baron. Now behind about 7,000 gold. They're going to try to pick this up, or at least bait Evo into this. They are going to decide to go blow everything onto Wings of Death. He is going to melt, though. Normally we don't see Darius melting that fast. Salsi, there's that ultimate, but it is going to get spell shielded on Corki. It will continue to bounce as it hits Nocturne, Morgana, and Jax there. Flash out of the way from Corki is not going to land a dredge line from Unstoppable, but they are just contesting this Baron. Now, they did pick up a kill from this on Pentachill's side, so it was pretty good for them, but unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get this Baron, and they are actually going to have to fall back as Afromu, just one member from TSM Evo, is staying back and continuing to push these lanes, and Pentachill's going to have to react this time, otherwise they're going to start losing every single tower they have left.
It was a pretty good result for Pentachill just to pick up that 1 kill, because they're starting to fall behind. If they can pick up a kill like that, then it definitely favors them. Pentachill also did a better job that time of spreading out to avoid the brand ultimate. It did bounce around as much, but it didn't do quite as much damage as we've seen in some of the other fights. Also a nice spell shield, but still, with the amount of damage that they took, they were forced off the Baron, and unfortunately they're far enough behind right now that just scoring 1 pick, 1 kill is not going to be enough to swing this match. You need to score a kill and then turn that into some kind of global advantage off either taking Dragon or, better for them, taking Baron. And it looks like they're actually going to fall further behind right now as this tower goes down in mid. So even though that was well played, unfortunately they're far enough behind that just 1 kill like that is not going to be enough to swing things unless they can turn it into an advantage in terms of towers or dragons or some other global advantage on the map.
And all that global gold right now for TSM Evo is really starting to shine. Jax out of that top lane, opting to go for what looks to be a frozen mallet build, so he's not even maximizing his damage potential, not going for the Gunblade or the Trinity Force like we were talking about during the Champion select. Corgi actually has not finished his Phantom Dancer, opting to go for a Negatron Cloak just because of how much damage that Brand is dealing out of that middle lane. Meanwhile, Afromu's side, he's gotten his Brutalizer, finished up an entire Frozen Heart. Looks like Unstoppable's Nautilus has a Glacial Shroud, possibly another Frozen Heart over there. So this defensive farming posture and now continuing to push through and just dominate these team fights with their item superiority is really working out for TSM Evo, and they basically have Pentachill confined to their base right now, and they're just fine walking around the perimeters, killing the creeps as soon as they push out. Meanwhile, the top lane with the inhibitor down is going to continue to push onto the Nexus, and as soon as those creeps reach that Nexus turret, I can only expect TSM Evo to go in. But no, Pentachill's going to be the first one with that ward over the wall. That will go in on Salty, but a very nice flash takes Salty out of the fight, out of harm's way. Wings of Death will immediately take down Corki. The Lulu ultimate saves him. Nice Brand ultimate over the wall, hits every single remaining member from Team Pentachill. Morgana goes down to Urgot. Darius is being chased, but he's just not falling anymore. Tarek will eventually die. Actually, Darius picked up that kill. Tangy time, dodging everything, trying to get another kill on Unstoppable. Unstoppable turns around and picks up a kill on Jax as soon as that dodge runs out. Scalaman has gone back to base to heal, but that is a 4 for none in favor of TSM Evo. Top tower is pushing down onto the Nexus turret. They did get that inhibitor in the bottom lane, and it looks like that TSM Evo is just going to go for a game-winning push here, Sola.
Yeah, this is going to be the end of the game here. There's no way that Nocturne can save this on his own. 2 things in that fight that Pentachill tried to get the kill onto Salsy's Brand. They were not able to do so. It was a great flash over the wall for him to make his escape so he could still get his ult off. And then secondly, Dark Knight, the Corki player, just died instantly in that team fight. And Corki is the strongest member of their team. They did not have his damage. He died right away at the start of the fight.
Pentachill is putting up as much of a fight as they can, trying to still kill Darius. They will eventually succeed. Nautilus picks up a kill on Nocturne. Corki's actually going to pick up a kill on Nautilus. Brand picks up a kill on Tarek, and it looks like Pentachill, they have no Nexus turrets left, but they are going to delay this the win for TSM Evo here. So it looks like their inhibitors come back up now in the top lane. So if they can possibly defend, they may be able to come back into this, but the problem is TSM Evo has pushed down every single lane except for that middle inhibitor turret. They have complete map dominance right now. Pentachill's going to have to be in such a defensive posture, and Baron is completely wide open on the map for TSM Evo just to walk in and take and potentially go for a game-ending push.
Yes, Evo will almost certainly go for Baron. When it respawns, all they have to do is force a fight there. The fact that there are no towers defending the Nexus whatsoever means that Pentachill has to stay back and defend their base, so they should be able to take Baron without too much pressure on there. If Pentachill comes out, they basically have to just try a Baron steal. If they aren't, they can't really come out and fight because Evo can just back off the Baron and stall it out, and while that's happening, creeps would just continue flooding into the base on the other side. So not unwinnable, I wouldn't say, but an extremely difficult position to be in. They really need to wait for their bottom inhibitor to come back up, just because otherwise they can literally get backdoored. If someone like Brand or Urgot just flashes over the wall and runs in the base, they can just kill the Nexus as long as an inhib is down. Looks like they're actually not even going to go for Baron. Darius isn't even with them right now, but they feel comfortable enough to just push in the base and start taking inhibitors because their team is in an extremely strong position right now. Look how tanky Urgot is. He has 314 armor, so the only one who can deal any damage to him whatsoever is Morgana.
Yeah, that is a ridiculous amount of armor. Picking up a Randuin's Omen to supplement his Frozen Heart. Taking a look at Salty, Deathcap, Ryla's Crystal Scepter, that Hextech Gunblade. He has right now 529 ability power. Taking a look at Morgana, she just finished her Zana's Hourglass, so only 301. So she is not dealing nearly as much damage as that Brand can. And with Salty's ultimates right now, and just the kiting he's doing, as actually a depth charge is going to go off onto Scalaman. They are going to immediately focus down Tarek and Morgana at the same time. Tarek will fall to Salty. Salty gets the ultimate from Lulu. They are trying to focus him down. They will pick up a kill, but now Darius has rejoined the fight. That's one, that's two, that's three kills for Darius. Their Wings of Death coming in, just lining them up and knocking them down with that Darius ultimate. So it looks like right now that is a 4-for-1. TSM Evo immediately focused down the Nexus, and that is going to be game number 1 of this IPL5 qualifier match, as TSM Evo sits there and farms up the lanes and comes back against an aggressive Pentachill to take game number 1.
Nice game on both sides. Pentachill was doing quite well right up until those dragon fights, and those 2 dragon fights just completely flipped the match on its head and ended up being the death of them in the end. They just could not recover once they lost those 2 5v4 dragon fights and had their entire lane completely caved in. Proved to be the difference in the match, along with Salsy's excellent Brand play.
Yes, indeed. That was a very, very nice game from both of these teams. We're going to be getting into game number 2 in just a second, guys. We're going to take a quick little break, but we'll be back for game number 2, IPL5 qualification match between TSM Evo, up 1 game right now, over Team Pentachill. Stay tuned, guys. We will be right back.